Hello and welcome to SuperCoach Edge for the Round 7 review and Round 8 preview. Well, owners of Rory Laird were running scared at the prospect of him potentially missing the clash with Collingwood due to calf tightness. We have journos tweeting that he wasn't going to play, and then thankfully the Crow CEO came out and said he would 100% play after getting through training. So tip of the old cap to you, CEO. I don't know what your name is, but tip of the cap. But the worry didn't end there, however, with the AFL app and commentators alike reporting in-game that he was subbed out late in the game, when in fact it was an error and he actually hadn't been subbed at all. So a bit of a saving grace there, but fair to say we were all in a glass case of emotion over Laird on the weekend.
Yes, it was also a Green Day, as Tom Green and Will Day were a welcome return to our sides from suspension, thankfully. Meaning we didn't have to rely on as many putrid rookie on-field scores as last week, given that they had absolutely burnt us.
God. And
yeah, that was rough. And then we had the likes of Gulden, Marshall, and Sheezel among a handful who returned to form, Supercoach-wise, which was nice. Whilst Chandler highlighted his importance as a cash cow as he once again kickstarted his cash generation playing at the MCG, because I'm telling you now, it's what the difference is. Whilst Cincotta or Ricotta or whatever you want to call him gave us all hope that we could be the next rookie to replicate with such a rise, with a handy score and a big cash projection coming in. And then we had
next?
Nix. He must be a listener because he heeded our
comments
on Nick Dacos, playing Ben Keys on him to great effect, largely nullifying him. And I presume our checks are in the mail for that advice.
Have to be 100%. I've been looking ever since after the weekend. Still hasn't arrived, strangely enough.
Funnily enough.
Yeah. Yep. Matty Nix. Yep. Exactly. But if you want to hit us up for any more little words of wisdom, feel free to do so. But of course, if you're not following us on socials, where we post, of course, the latest news, post-match, SuperCoach scores, and the odd meme or two, you can do so on Twitter at @SuperCoach_Edge. You can find myself at DamoJ88. You can find Liam at LiamEvans_95 on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok. Just search SuperCoach Edge and you'll find us there.
Yep. Now let's just jump straight into it with our usual recap in the good, the bad, and the ugly. For those new to our show, if you haven't tuned in before, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we roll through some of the notable and the more forgettable performances across the weekend and touch on how our own teams performed in our head-to-head rivalry as we wrestle for ultimate supremacy. Yes. We'll touch on the ultimate supremacy later. But do you want to jump in with the good this week, Damon?
Yes, I will. Let's kick it off with Romo, as many call him, or Holla 4A. And it is, of course, Marshall. He takes the honours here with a score of 159, which was his highest score of the year and a welcome score after an up-and-down start to the year. And you will remember, of course, last week's episode, I gave a bit of a stare down the barrel and a bit of a warning to Rowan Marshall. So I like to think that my barbs that I was sending his way. So he was doing a bit of a watch along with Matthew Nix. Yep, another avid listener, watcher on YouTube. He was there alongside Matty Nix. Matty Nix, meanwhile, was just writing down notes feverishly. Okay, your keys on Dacos. Meanwhile, Rowan Marshall was hiding underneath the desk and just watching at different points. So regardless, he came out and scored well. So 2 thumbs up for you, Roro.
Yes, and moving on to the bad, and it is Hopper, who disappointed with a score of 71. But what made it even more frustrating was his teammate in Taranto was able to score 140, so there was absolutely no excuse for him. However, his usual low time on ground was a contributing factor and rather alarming given he had the second equal lowest time on ground, discounting the subs. And I'm going to also give Hopper another bad because I needed him to score like 18 points less so I could beat you this round. And of course, just had to get those extra 18 points.
Well,
Anyway.
maybe off the back of that, I should keep him because he's in my fire line at the moment, as you'll hear me go into detail with. But yeah, okay, that might be a bit of a parting gift potentially in my team, Hopper. So good and bad. I mean, yeah, it's good, bad, and ugly, but a bit of both there. A bit of good and bad, but more bad, I think, more than good. But let's round it out with the ugly, of course, and we might refer to him as Will Set and Forget a Field, but judging from the 51 he scored on the weekend, he was anything but. Coming off the back of a 71 the week prior, it seems as though he has caused a complete wipeout for those riding his cash wave. Yeah, just riding high, like, yeah, boy, shuckers all round, woo, and then see you later.
Want Centerfield.
Alrighty, let's get into how our teams fared on the weekend, and must say, I am absolutely stoked, bro. Get the shuckers up again, because I scored 2,414, which was my highest score of the season to date. In terms of ranking, this is the most positive, I think. And you know what, Liam? I'm going to crack open a hard-earned thirst for this.
It's a solo?
It's not a solo, and it's not a VB. It would definitely not be a VP because I'd be spewing. It is a Mountain Dew. Not a bit different from the Pepsi Max that we usually roll with. But it's been sitting in the fridge for a fair while. It's like the inanimate carbon rod, just in liquid form. It's not good. Not good. It's like a kilo's worth of sugar in there. It's not good, kids. If you're listening or watching this, don't drink it. But anyway, onto my ranking and the reason why I am cracking this open to celebrate, because I actually went up 7,835 spots to now sit. Finally, I've cracked the top 10K and I'm on the cusp of the top 5K with a ranking of 6,480. So making some good headway, which is good. In terms of trades, I had initially settled on using only two, but which was the upgrade of Cogs coming in for Michelini and Seamus, our boy Seamus Mitchell, coming in for Philippou. That is until LDU or UDL was ruled out with another foot issue, this time in the form of a heel complaint. And that complaint had me complaining that his foot issues were still hampering him and worried about this becoming a regular issue across the course of the season. So I bit the bullet and decided to use it as a chance to, I guess, usher in the one, the only, Samuel Walsh. Yep, the Messiah. He's into my team. I couldn't resist. Could not resist. He was going to make his way into my team at some stage, but when I saw there was a chance there, an opening for me to just grab him, and I've done it before, let me tell you, it meant I had to trade McKenna. However, instead, I was waiting for your reaction. Then you're like, huh? Oh, wait a second. It's like the gears are churning.
Yeah.
There's me in the tree again from last
Took
year.
me a while.
That meme of me in the tree. Was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year I did it. And then you were in the tree looking at Parrish, of course. Oh, yes. But anyway, that trade in of good old Sammy Walsh meant I had to instead trade McKenna instead of Philippou to fund that trade, which was the only downside, as the Poo went on to score like Poo yet again, and McKenna punched out a serviceable 70. But I ended up getting Walshy, and that was all washed away because when I laid eyes upon Walshy in my side and watching him score a handy 117 on debut, literally chef's kiss. Alongside him, Bond performed valiantly, opting to lock in his 122 as a VC score as well, so that was nice to see. But what's better is this coming week, we will see the inclusion of another Messiah. A different type of Messiah here. And I mentioned it in the Team Talk episode, of course, and last week, but there was a smell of bacon in the air last week, and it became stronger and stronger after the game on the weekend. And it was so strong to almost taste it, and now I have that very taste of bacon, and it is in the form of the pink, sweaty pig himself, Clary Oliver.
It's an absolute dream.
He is just a dreamboat, like an absolute dreamboat. Him and Walshy together, side by side. What's that song? Ebony and Ivory living together in perfect harmony. That is Clary and Walshy. So amazing. But yes, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, and I'm getting into some sort of fantasy in my mind. So to catch a rundown of my team strategy and future trading plans, you can catch that in my Team Talk video exclusively on our SuperCoach Edge YouTube channel. So Liam, let's put this train back on its tracks before it gets derailed.
Yes. Onto my score for the week. 2-3 and 9-6. So my best score for the season, which was nice. Also saw me land that top 1% finish for the round, which was also very nice. But probably most happily. Is that the right word? I don't know. Most impressed. I'm just most happy about this.
Yep.
Was the score helped me power up the rankings into 22,138th overall, going up over 16,000 spots on the weekend, which was
incredible.
Very nice. Very nice. Very happy with that. If I just do that again, like what?
You'll be up there with me.
Exactly.
6K.
It's what's going to happen this week.
It will. Yeah, manifest
it. Manifesting it. In terms of trades this week, I wasn't quite sure who I was going to bring in. But obviously when the news of LDU being an out meant I knew I needed to get him out because he's tried my patience just one too many times this season since I've got him in. Got him in. He was the latest of outs. And then just never really got firing since then. So kind of saw it as a bit of a, what's the right word? Like a
opportunity?
Not a wait. Yeah, an opportunity. A bit of an opportunity. I think it was like a call to get him out.
SuperCoach gods, maybe? Are they whispering?
SuperCoach whispering in my ears, just saying, maybe this is the time to move him on. Yeah. So I did. And I traded him to Cogs, essentially, who's sitting in my midfield. But obviously I'll shift him forward eventually. I then traded Michaelini to Seamus Mitchell, and Will Phillips as well made his way out of my side, obviously not playing on the weekend. And it gave me the opportunity to bring in another primo, which was nice. So I did bring in this was the thing. I brought in Zach Merritt, basically.
One of your boys.
Which was nice. Not a great score on the weekend. I did have a few options that I was tossing up. So Aldi, Cogs was sort of one of the ones that I was considering. Day was one I was considering very early. Instead of Cogs, decided I could bring in Cogs, and then I could have opted for a Parish, a Walsh, or someone, sort of higher up. But it would have meant that I could only get one primo in. Sort of had to do an upgrade and two downgrades and an upgrade. This way I got to basically bring in two primos. Which was nicer. So I did opt for a bit more of a value option. I think Merritt will come good. I'm not too concerned. Did obviously disappoint with just the 91, but his CBAs were down. But I'm not too concerned by that. I think they were just experimenting with some different midfield mixes, which saw him play a little bit more out of the CBAs. But I'm not too concerned by that, to be honest. On to our head-to-head, Damon. You did get the chocolates this week again. So it is 1 win for me to 6 wins to you, and a differential of 258 points.
Yeah, but it was a much closer affair this week.
Yes.
And just managed to hold on to win by that 18 points, as you mentioned, Delio. Courtesy of, I can't attribute it to Hopper because it could be anyone in my team, really. It could be, I don't know, who haven't you got? It could be Day, potentially.
Could have been Day. Could have been Day.
Could have been Jay-Z. Could have been...
I actually had a look because I got close and it did come down to, Hopper was the last point of difference between our teams. So I think that's why I'm attributing it to Hopper. But I had a look because we actually played each other in one of the many leagues that we're in together.
Yes. Yeah.
So just having another quick squiz. And I think we had 5 points of difference.
Ooh. And
I was I'm pretty happy with that. I was just 18 points down considering I fielded McKenna and Johnson.
Yes.
So I had 2 rookies, and really the points of difference for us were 2 rookies. I had 3 primos, and then you had 2. Day's not really a mid-pricer anymore, I wouldn't say, but you had Sinclair, Day, Zeeble, Walsh, and Hopper, and I had McKenna, Johnson, Sicily, Oliver, and Merritt. So came close.
Did pretty well considering.
Merritt let me down, really, actually. I'm going to blame it solely on him now.
blame it on the boogie.
And when things get freaky, funky, and nasty, blame it on the
But yes, now with the likes of Oliver oinking his way into a lot of sides this week, and everyone keen on a dollop of ricotta, otherwise known as panna cotta or cotoletta, or formerly, I guess, known as Cincotta. He'll be given all those nicknames because we can't just settle on one. But it's time now to talk, as a bit of a segue, about trades in The Price is Right.
Show me the money.
Oh! Does that make you feel good just to say that? What you gonna do, Derek? Show me the money!
For those tuning in for the first time, The Price is Right is the segment where we discuss potential trades and trade targets from week to week, or whether a specific player under question should even be traded at all. So let's kick it off, Liam. I'll pass the baton to you. Going, gone. Who we've got first up?
First up, we got Brody Grundy. Ruck eligible, 575.4k, averaging 104 with a break even of 158. And he obviously is back to sharing the ruck duties, and it's just not helping his scoring at all. In games where Gawn and Grundy have played together for, more than just the first 5 seconds, his scores read, and even then when Gawn went down with injury, he still didn't score that well. But
No.
Beside the point, his scores do read 69, 81, and 89. That's for Grundy, obviously. So I just don't think the scoring is going to be there for him, unfortunately. I just don't think the role, the two of them sharing ruck duties is just not good for Grundy's scoring. If you did want to trade him down, if you did obviously trade him in when Gordon went down, he's made you over 65k. I'd take that and run at this stage. His 158 break even probably going to drop another, you'd expect at least, 20k. I'd move him on now if you can. You can even downgrade him to Gorn potentially if that's what you'd like. And he's going to net you over 70k as well. So you get 70k in cash straight up.
I like it. Yep. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Like for those, we were chatting about it briefly pre-record, and guys that you could go for. But yeah, Gorn's an obvious one. Just given that, like it's that they're kind of like ships in the night in terms of like Grundy just going so well without Gorn, and then obviously upon return, a whole different ball game. But yeah, keep that in mind. Next up, we have Fergus Green as a forward. He's priced at 284.8k, averaging a 55.3 with a break-even of 57. So, of course, that break-even has teetered above his average, which is always a danger sign. So, yes, he's set to start dropping some cash, you'd think, and he's all but peaked in price. Has reached the 160k mark in cash generation, so he's done what we needed him to. So I think if you need to cash someone in, he is a prime candidate. Not much more to really say here. I think in my situation personally, I've looked forward in terms of the buy structures, as we've been saying over the past couple of weeks. Keep this in mind when you're trading players out and when you're trading players in. Always look to see how they're going to fit in your upcoming buy structure. For me, Green plays in the all-important, for me anyway, round 15 buy. So I'm thinking I might hold him for that because I have other guys to trade out instead, the likes of Wilmot, he's one, Philippou, another one. So yeah, I think I've just got buys in mind, and I still need a couple of extra players, mind you. So I can't afford to trade him out as yet. But yeah, if you do need to just trade someone in and make a bit of cash, he makes most sense, I think.
Very sound there, David. Thinking forward to the buys. That is not factoring into my head right now.
I haven't done it in previous years, so I don't know what's happening. I'm a changed man.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
I might have to look at my side. Look at the buys before I
You've
make
already
any
traded him out. You might have to trade him back in. Reverse those trades.
Yeah, we'll consider that after the episode. Next up on the list is another rookie, and it is Mateus Philippou, someone that he's been saved so many times in your side.
Saved by the bell. Saved, like he's stay of execution. Like if he was on death row, he would have been marched down the green mile, as they call it.
About four times. And then as he's about to be strapped into the electric chair, they're like, oh, no, sorry, we've got someone else that's going to sit in his place. And yeah, he's
he's been saved at the death, literally,
Very
figuratively.
morbid. Very morbid.
Yeah, I shouldn't say literally because it's a literal thing. It's figuratively and it's an analogy. But yes, apologies, Mateus. You're not going to get killed.
No.
Just from my team, you will. You're going to be culled. Finally.
Cut.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
251.2k, averaging 53.3 with a break even of 84. And like Green, this cash cow looks to be all mood out. His break even is above his highest score, and his 3-round average of 42 isn't going to help. He's already dropped 10k in cash. I don't think he's going to improve his scoring too much. He looks pretty tired, to be honest. Looks like he's in need of a bit of a rest. So I would be looking to move him on at this stage.
Yeah, he was like just half-assing. It'd be me like taking the footy field like in the first minute, and I'd be half-assing things because I'd just be like, just out of breath. That's literally what he's been like. So poor bloke, he's in need of a rest. And off the back of a loss, you'd think that Rossi, the bossy Lion, will probably give him that. Next up, we have Will Setterfield. Obviously, midfielder. He's priced at 428.5k, averaging a 90.4. And a break-even of 117. So a score of 51 on the weekend was his lowest for the season, with a 76 the week before. But most concerning was the change in role we saw on the weekend. Yes, he still had 68% CBAs, but he looked to be pushed to the wing and forward when he wasn't in the middle, a far cry from 90%, which we saw in round 2. And if you've still got him, he's likely to drop a lot of cash this weekend with that high break-even. So get him out of your side and cash him in while you can.
Yeah, I agree entirely. If you've still got him, if you've still managed to hold him, just I think cut your losses now. He's made, I don't even know if he's what he started at. He's probably still up on his starting price, which is good.
Yeah,
but
made a bit of cash.
Yeah, not time to move him on. He's not
80K.
scoring.
He's made 80k.
80k still. All right, good.
Yep.
Move him on.
96 last week, so get rid of him. He's going to bleed you, man.
Yep. Yes. And moving on to on the chopping block. On the chopping block. And
yes, of course.
I wish I'd given this one to you, Damon, but it is Asava Radagalia. Actually, no, I don't wish we gave him to you because we'd have another 40 minutes just talking about him. He is ruck forward eligible, 320k, averaging 61 on the weekend with a break even of 65. And he is another who looks to have done their job. You can move him on, having made 146k for you. I don't know how, but you could also potentially hold him on to him for another week because he's break even 65, averaging 61. I think his break even, I think his 3-round average is just a bit above the 65. Got bigger issues. Hold on to him. Keep him. No, I can't even say that was joke face.
That's a good segue, Liam. It's if you've got bigger issues, the definition of Radaglia is issue. Like him himself. No, I'm a bit too harsh there. I'm going to stop right there because otherwise, I will keep going on with it.
He's done his job. He's done his job.
He's done more than his job, I reckon.
Yeah,
the fact that he's made you more than $1.
146k. Decent.
Yeah. But there are actually guys that you can trade him out to, Teakle being one who we'll speak of in a moment. So it's not as if you're not lacking of options. But even if you were, the inanimate carbon rod might be an option as well. But let's move on to Jacob Hopper as a midfielder. Priced at 446.3k, averaging a 90.2 and a break-even of 90. So he sits in this list mainly because he faces West Coast, who give away a lot of points to mids. But realistically, if you can upgrade him to an Oliver or a Steele, we highly suggest doing that. Has only scored above his break-even this round his break-even, which he faces this round 3 times this season, which is a 119, 115 and a 94. So the biggest concern for him is his scoring, obviously, but it's also his time on ground as well, with just 72%, which is the 4th lowest for the Tigers, including their subs. So he's not going great guns. So it's not something out of the ordinary, I think, in terms of that low time on ground. But the fact of the matter is that it's already puts a cap on how much he can, like how many points he can score and how much, exactly, and how much cash he's going to make you. So he's done his job. I think he's made. I was going to have a quick look here, but he's already out of my side. I don't mess around here.
130k off memory.
Yeah, 114. 114. I think he was
quite.
projected for 130 if he was to meet his projection this week. But he's made over 100k, so not too bad. But if you have other issues, you could probably keep him, I think.
Yeah.
But if he's a stepping stone to an Oliver or a Steele, I would, as we said, would take that.
The points, the points are better. Well, certainly. And another one on this list is Darcy Wilmot. Defender, midfielder eligible, 263.6k, averaging 58.3 with a break even of 48. And he's one that really, I think, he sits in both camps of hold and trade.
Yeah.
Basically, it just depends on what you need specifically for your team. I can't remember if I've traded him or if I'm holding him. His break even is achievable. So either way, it's kind of okay. He's only scored below that 48 once. That was his lowest score for the season. So you could hold him. You should make some more cash. But if you are needing needing the cash to upgrade, he's not a bad option to move on. There's not much to say about him. It's kind of do what's best for your side. He's not going to make, unless he scores like 100, he's not going to make a heap more cash. But based off his averages, he's kind of just going to keep. He shouldn't drop in price, is basically what we're saying.
Yeah, and I've just had a look because he was one that I didn't even factor in when it came to the buy, but he actually plays round 15 as well. So I might have to maybe think about reverse those trades. I think reverse those, just like shave those sideburns. I might have to reverse those trades and shave those sideburns my own for being an absolute short-sighted fool. But let's move on to the next category, and it is of course get them in. So let's kick it off with Jackie Steele. Midfielder, he's priced at 537.2k, averaging a 91.5 and a break-even of 126. So looks extreme value here, having dropped to 67.2k, courtesy of an injury-affected 54 points when he played through a busted shoulder like an absolute machine. Has returned in fine form, scoring 126 on the weekend, and faces a soft opponent in North who he averages 113 points against, which is actually his second highest average opponent that he scores against. So look out for that. Whilst he could potentially wait a week and save a bit more money, his previous three scores against North read as 154, 128, 109, 68, and a 140. So there's a few big scores there to indicate that he could eclipse that break-even. So is it really worth waiting in order to potentially save a few $1,000s at best? So what counts for more is obviously points on field at the end of the day. So if you're looking for a upgrade option in the midfield, look no further.
Yeah, definitely. I like that because looking at it, Hopper to him is under 100k. So that's a very nice upgrade option if you ask me there. If you weren't going for someone like Clary. But let's move on. Next one on the list, we got Maxi Gorn, ruck eligible, 501.8k. Not the spin pretty pig, but it is his teammate. Yep. He's averaging just 79.5 with a break even of 108. Now, we do need to keep in mind that Gorn's average of 79.5 does include a 0 from his injury-affected game. So when we take that into consideration, and his scores read 140, 98, and 80, that is an average of 106. You could potentially wait for him to drop in price further, but he does face the Suns this round. He does average a 124.2 against across his career with a lowest score of just 88. So if you do have the likes of a Grundy, he's an easy downgrade. He's going to net you 74.4k as well. And on top of that, he may even get that handy DPP status so you can switch him into the forward line. I wouldn't trade him in based off that. I'd only trade him in if you had a Grundy. Or the like, I don't know. I can't think of any other. I mean, I don't know if you're running with R2 Galea. I mean, definitely upgrade to Gorn.
If you are, what are you doing?
I can't think of any other ways that I would trade to Gorn, basically, because I wouldn't be trading Marshall to Gorn.
No.
And I can't think of anyone else that there's no injuries or anything, so. Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard, isn't it? For those people who don't have Grundy, I think I wouldn't force the issue.
No. We
can probably talk about it in a bit because we will touch on it later, so I won't delve into too much. But like let's leave it at that. We'll delve into it a bit more later, but almost got ahead of myself there. Catch myself short. So let's jump into the next one, and it is James Sicily, defender, obviously priced at 542.5k, averaging a 103.1 and a break-even of 77. So the Sicilian recovered nicely from his foot-in-mouth syndrome after jarring words against Tassie. Classic, and he had to pretty much revoke or whatever, like smooth over.
With his little, my favorite part was the thumbs up emoji at the end.
What was the comment? These words do not reflect my opinions or something. It's like, how? You literally tweeted them. You literally said. No, he didn't tweet. Was he on radio? Wasn't he? I think he was on radio.
It was an interview. Yeah.
Yeah, like you literally, those words came out of your mouth. How could they not reflect your? Oh, Jesus. Classic. So funny. How funny is football? How funny are football players? They're so funny. So he did recover nicely with a score of 128 on the weekend that featured 26 disposals and 6 marks. And the best part of Sicily is he is ultra reliable with his clean disposal, no matter how many times he gets the ball in his hands, with disposal efficiency percentage in the mid to high 80s over the past few weeks. And that does help give his scoring a nice floor. The one knock is he's giving up easy cheapies in the form of kick-ins that have been given instead to Hardwick, so it has dropped his scoring ceiling compared to previous years. However, with a low break-even against an out-of-form Freo, this could be the lowest price we see him all year.
Yes. He's in my side. He's scored well enough. The 128 on the weekend was nice. I don't mind him. Good price every night, and a defender we can trust in. I think as a reliable top 6 defender. Moving on to his teammate in Will Day, defender midfield, 497.6k, averaging 100.2. With a break-even of 77. And he has gone up an incredible 130k in the past 3 weeks. And you're still going to get him for under 500k, which is, I don't know, nuts. Yeah. So the boat has virtually sailed on Day in terms of value compared to his starting price. But believe it or not, he can still be viewed as value given he has a 3-round average of 114.3, a whole 14 points higher than the price he is currently listed at. So
juice.
Value.
There's still juice to be squeezed out of this man.
We figure we's a little juice.
He has slotted straight back into the Hawks engine room after his 2-week suspension. So there are now no questions about whether he is a walk-up starter in the middle. He's also averaged an equal high 68% CBAs to drive that point home. So this week's opponent in Freo also give up the most points to opposition inside bids. So could be in for a big game with the old bit Will Day. The other, I think the question that we had was, is he a top 6 defender? And with the scoring we're seeing, it's a yes, I guess. I don't think he's going to average 114 for the season, but if he averages 105, 110, which looks possible, I can't see why not. And at 497k, he's still good value.
Oh, yeah, he's great value. A lot of people, I think, will see the fact, like they'll click on him, they'll see the fact that SuperCoach Plus says that he's not going to really make any more cash. Disregard that because their projections are out and they're not based upon what he's currently scoring in his current role in the engine room. And I think, if he averages at, what is he averaging at the moment? Just say
100.2. Yeah, 100.2, sorry.
Yeah, but if he cuts the difference between that 3-round average of 114 and 100, if it's a 107, for example, that would currently put him up as the 4th best scoring defender on average. Because at the moment it's Dakes with 126, Dawson 124, Luke Ryan 121, and Sicily is 103. To round out the top 4 there. And Sheezel actually coming in 5th place, 102.7. But yeah, it shows that he's still value there in terms of his current price and what he should be priced at based upon his most recent form. So yeah, opponents, got to look at them as well and could be in for a big day out. You like that?
I like that. I like that. Looking at his scores as well for the season, 60 in round one, which really drags down his average, a 98, a 139, a 107, and a 97. So mixed bag there in a sense. Not not a mixed bag in the sense that just the 60 kind of is the outlier though, but the 98 and 97 are still decent scores. For a defender, I'd take that at his price.
Well, the 60 as well, keep in mind, that was the one game all year where he played more time down in defence, and then he shifted into the midfield. And then from round two onwards, he's played pretty much exclusively in the midfield as well. So if you disregard that 60 as well and you sort of scrub that out, it even makes him look even more favourable playing in the current role that he is.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, let's move on to Jackie Sinclair, obviously defender, priced at 540.9k, averaging a 101.1 and a break-even of 95. So Sinks has featured in this category over the past few weeks, and if you opted to hold out, you'd have only saved 5.5k, but missed out on scores of 105 and 109. Has dropped 85.3k, so he's still super value, and his break-even now teeters under his average. But the fact he now faces North, who give up the third most points to opposition defenders, means the time to nab him is probably now.
Yes, it is. I don't know how he's dropped 5.5k in the last 2 weeks, scoring 105 and 109. But anyway, I've got a question for you here, David. Question without notice.
Yes, I like this.
I have to trade in one of the last two players, Will Day or Jack Sinclair, who do I pick?
Yes, this is similar to a question that was sent in by our combined father-in-law as well. I think he might have been weighing up a couple of these players in the Discord. I would say it's hard because Jackie Sinclair's got a history of obviously being a top-line primo, whereas Will Day has, again, even though we've spruiked him up and said he's complete value, he still has a few question marks over him. There's durability issues and stuff we know historically. So it comes down to, first and foremost, obviously, how much cash you've got in the bank. There's almost 43k difference. If you have the cash, I would opt for Sinclair first. But I think end of the day, you'd probably go for both in the end. But yeah, I'd go for Jackie Sinclair before Will Day. Just because of that history. Like, I just like having a bit of security there. Keeps him warm at night, knowing that he was a primo and he's still scoring well enough. Whereas Will Day could eclipse him maybe. But yeah, it's hard. Get them both in your, like, long answer, get them both in your team. Short answer, go for Sinks. But I like both, especially like Day, because he's got that DPP as well.
Yeah. Would you consider, so the only other thing that I'm thinking for listeners is Cash Gen's looking tough at the minute. Day is, as you said, just under 40, just over 40k cheaper. Is it worth the savings?
Okay, well, let's have a look just quickly. If he scores on average at the moment, so he's averaging 100, let's be conservative. He's going to go up roughly around about 10k.
Yeah,
at a guess. But if he scores, that 114, 115, it'll probably go up to 15k maybe roughly. So there's that. And I mean, Sinks could go up as well. So it's much of a much. So I'd try and get them both back-to-back weeks just to sort of limit the amount of damage, I guess, or loss of money, if you can do that. With a 2 down, 1 up type thing. But yeah, if you're cash strapped, maybe Will Day. I don't know. It's literally a coin flip. I think end of the day you need to get both in, but yeah, it's a tough one to answer.
No, good, fair call. I threw that one
because it could actually come down as well to like, because Will Day having that defensive mid DPP, you could potentially, if you need someone in your midfield desperately as opposed to defense, that'll provide you with a bit of flexibility in the short term as well. If you need to cover, I don't know who, but say if you were relying on Matthew Johnson from Freo as like an M8 or something, for example, and he's suspended for 2 weeks and you don't have anyone else to cover, and if he gets him off field, then maybe. So structurally as well comes down to that, but yeah, I don't know. Go for Por qué no los dos?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think both is good. I think Day presents as a little bit better value. And the DPP status is handy, but
Yep.
you're not going. I don't think you're going to get there's not a wrong answer there between the two.
Yep. On value stakes, 100%. Go for Day.
Anyway, let's move on to the smell of bacon. Do you smell it, Damon? It is.
I do. I do smell it. It's
is
in the air.
wafting. Yeah.
In fact, it's in my mouth. I just ate some earlier. I just took a big bite out of his out of his big hind. So if you see him running around with a limp, that's due to that.
He's missing a leg.
He's missing. I was going to say an arse cheek, but yeah, a leg. Yeah, go a little bit further.
All right. All right. Anyway,
Sizzle off
we
some
are
bacon.
talking about Clary Oliver.
Can you hear that?
Mid-priced, 652.5k, sorry, averaging 124.6 with a break-even of 140. And the pink sweaty pig himself could be one to skip, considering his big break-even of 140. But we know what he can produce, so a score of 140 is most certainly not off the table. And I mean, maybe now that Damon's bloody broken his leg off and eating, but
if you hear as you're talking, any listeners out there, don't fear. It's nothing suspect. It's me just gnawing on Clary's leg. I was going to say arse cheek, but leg is probably more appropriate.
Oh, anyway, his average against the Suns is also 131.6 from all his outings. So there's a good chance he does go big at 652.5k. I don't think you'll get him much cheaper this season. I think he is one. If you've got a hopper, try and upgrade him to Oliver if you can.
Gold Coast this week, Hawks the next.
Yep, two very good opportunities for them to score.
Time is right. The time is perfect. The other guy to consider is from my mob, Paddy Cripps. Midfielder, obviously priced at 590k, averaging a 115.6. Sorry, I've just got some indigestion there because I gulped down some of Clary. Break even at 54, scored at 153 and 130 in his past two games, and looks to be good value still despite rising 16.2k on the weekend, with his price having dropped 21.9k below his starting price overall. Currently the fifth highest scoring mid in the game, so I mean, he's well and truly put his claims in again to be a potential top 8 finisher in the midfield come the end of the season. So consider him if you are in need.
Yep, I like it. Let's move on to the rookies. Let's look at the guys who are on the bubble this week. And first up, we've got Alex Cincotta, Ricotta, Panacotta, whatever you like to call him. Defender midfield eligible 102.4k, juicy, average 77.5, even juicier, and a break even of -97, which is juicy, very juicy, all of it juicy. The Ricotta, Panacotta, Cotoletta should be high on the trade in list for all of us this week, with solid scoring of 67 and 88, giving him a super low break even with a projected price rise of 62.9k. First up, if he can score a minimum of 42, according to SuperCoach Plus. He has super sound job security, given he kept his spot with the likes of Sard, Doherty, and Kemp making their way into Carlton's defence. Obviously, only Cowan missed, obviously being rested. But I think I can't see why you would not keep Cincotta in. He's played really well. I would be getting him in if you can. It gives you the max amount of dollars you can get as well with that 102.4k with new downgrade. So it's all looking good.
Yep, looking good for good old Cincotta, Ricotta, Panacotta, Cotoletta. But yeah, outside of SuperCoach stakes, just in terms of what he adds to Carlton's lineup, I was really impressed on the weekend, especially like he was breaking lines, he was taking guys on, and with great effect as well. So yeah, I think he belongs in the best 22 at the moment. And yeah, as you said there, just his ability to keep his spot off the back of Sard, Doherty, and then Kemp as well coming into the side. I thought overloaded here with defenders, but played well. So he should keep his spot in the short term and potentially long term. So let's move on to Sam Simpson. He's a mid-forward. He's priced at 166.1k, averaging a 69 and a break-even of -43. So Simpson is no stranger to being a cash cow, given he was a handy one back in 2020 when he made us a handy 172k, if anyone can remember that, across 6 games after starting as a 123.9k rookie. And believe it or not, he's actually been on Geelong's list since 2017 and is now a bit more of a mature age player, 24 years of age, and can carve out a spot after injuries have limited his run in recent seasons and opportunities have passed him by. There is still, I guess, no certainty because it is, I guess, Geelong and Scott at the helm. No certainty over his long-term job security, but with Stengel out of the side for the next 3 to 5 weeks of projected and Bowes now sidelined with a calf injury, in the short term, he should at least have a spot and hopefully he can keep it across the buys to give us all much needed cover. So I'm a bit like Montgomery Burns here. Excellent.
Simpson, eh? Simpson, eh? Simpson, eh?
He says to Smithers, what's his name? Homer Simpson, sir. Simpson, eh?
That was uncanny. I mean, seeing him on the weekend, it's 2 goals. I think he had 10 disposals off memory. I think the week before, 2 goals again, it's off memory, and I think 14 disposals. I think he should hold his spot. Long term, it's always going to be questionable. And Chris Scott isn't super useful with that. But mid forward eligible as well. I like it. I like it a lot.
Another way of saying that is when you said Chris Scott isn't useful, is Chris Scott is useless. I like how you worded it nicely there. Very good. I like that. I picked up on that.
Being positive.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on, Ryan Angwin. We've got to keep the coaches on side because, we need Matty next.
True.
Listen to us. Now we need some others.
That's
Anyway.
true.
Ryan Angwin, mid-forward eligible, 123.9k, averaging 52 with a break-even of -33. He is the former first-round draftee and has largely played along the wing in his first 2 games, but his increased opportunity with 79% and 81% time on ground hasn't translated into any higher scoring, with just a 62 and a 42 in his first 2 games. He's probably on the fringe as well, so he's not got great job security at this stage and wasn't a renowned high scorer in junior level, so it's a bit of a gamble. Especially when you've got someone. I mean, you could argue that Sam Simpson isn't particularly strong in job security either, but at least I don't know, better average, which is useful.
Yep, yeah, cash is the name of the game, but also job security with all these guys. It's so hard. It's pretty obvious as well. Any guys that are making their debut at this point in the season obviously weren't good enough to play in the opening rounds for a reason with a completely healthy list to select from. So like this guy here coming up that we're about to speak of, and it is Ollie Laird as a forward from Port, priced at 123.9k, averaging a 44 with a break-even of -17. And he's only scored 53 and 35 in his first 2 games playing as a tall forward for Port. And like that point I just made, he's come in with Dixon on the sidelines. So it's safe to assume he will be one of the first in line to make way as soon as he is fit, which could be as soon as this week, with Marshall also in line to return from concussion. So he is, safe to say, one to avoid.
Yes, agreed. Next guy on the list is Mitch Nevitt, mid-eligible, 140.7k, averaging 30 with a break-even of 20. And he came in on the weekend as a late replacement, typical Chris Scott, for Tui, who was dealing with a back issue. He only scored 14 as the sub in his first game and a 46 on the weekend in a full game. The fact he only played his second game off the back of a late call-up says enough about his job security to suggest that he is most certainly a one to avoid, especially at that 140k price point. Yep, nothing else to say.
Yeah, exactly. You've already given Chris Scott another clip. I like this. Very good. You're going to be blacklisted. He's going to be listening. Don't worry. Moving on quickly to Aaron Francis, priced at 189.4k, averaging a 39 with a break-even of 30. And the former Don has kept his spot since coming in off the back of the McCartan brothers going down through injury. And Buddy, I think, as well, because he played a bit of time up forward. But his scoring leaves much to be desired with just 38 and 40 as both a swingman between forward and defence. He's actually kicked 7 goals in his first 3 games as a forward in the VFL. But at that higher price point, high break-even and uncertainty with his role adds up to him being a risk not worth taking.
Mm, yes. I, having been obviously an Essendon supporter and him being there at the Dons, I don't think it's worth the risk. Is going to be a swingman. He's going to play a bit forward. He's probably going to play a bit back. If he plays back, I think it's more positive for him, but I don't think it's going to translate to good Supercoach scoring.
Yeah.
As we saw on the weekend with body score of 40. Yeah, so not one to consider for me. Yeah, but let's move on. Probably one that I don't know. I like this pick. I'm actually it's warmed on me a little bit, and it is Bryn Teakle, ruck eligible, 198.5k, averaging 72.5 with a break even of minus 32. Sorry, the Port ruckman comes in at a higher price point than those other rookies, but he does look to have a good role. Obviously, as the number one ruck for the Power at present. Obviously risky with the likes of Lysette playing in the Sandful. I do think I read that Lysette got a corky, so could give it a little bit of reprieve for another week. So Teagle could be just one bad game away from being dropped or potentially also used as a second ruck. I hope that the fact that he's young and just needs to string some games together might lend itself to the fact that they persist with him a little bit. But you never know. He's definitely not an option for your R2. Please do not trade Grundy to him. Please, I beg. But he could work as an R3 if you have, Samson Ryan or Madden. Madden also just is back in full training. Just in case anyone wants to know.
No, we don't want him playing.
Oh, just in case.
He's been the captain so many times in my team. Stay that way.
Just so you know. You could trade out the likes of, Green or Philippou, swing them to the forward line, Ryan or Madden, and get Teagle into your R3. Handy cover and should have some decent scoring, assuming that he continues to play.
I like it. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea in terms of trading out someone like a Green or a Philippou or like another player that you can swing. Because I completely forgot that Madden's a forward ruck as well. So, yeah, might be a way to get him in if you so desire. Let's move on quickly, just round it out with the weight category, just in terms of rookies on the horizon, obviously.
Yep.
Wait until they play their second game, which will be this weekend, potentially if they keep their spot. And it is Josh Weddle, Max Ramsden, both from the Hawks, and Angus Shelrick of the Swans. So have a good look at those, and we'll chat about those guys potentially next week. But Liam, let's round out this segment by, again, discussing a talking point. And the big one this week is what to do with Brodie Grundy. So I'll hand it over to you if you want to have a first crack at it.
Yeah. I feel like I've made my thoughts known earlier in the episode. I think if you've got him, he's a trade this week. I don't think there's much point in waiting. He's going to drop cash. His break-even's 156. I think he's been scoring 80s with Gorn in the side. 69, 81, 89. So he's going to drop in cash quite a lot. It's a hard one. I think you trade him to Gorn, and Gorn, it's still an unknown, I guess, how Gorn scores with Grundy in the side. There's not been too much of a the sample size is small and it kind of is very volatile, I'll say. Like he had the 140 early in the season, I think, and then sort of mid 80s in the last couple. But so Grundy, I'd probably be trading to a Grundy. I don't mind that. You can then potentially bank on the fact that Gorn becomes a DP forward, and then you can shift him forward and then bring in another ruckman at that stage of the season, potentially. That's probably what I would be doing if I did have Grundy. Of course, you could go for anyone like an English if you don't have them, if you've got the cash, or pretty much English is probably the only one that I consider at this stage. Probably the only one that's a sure thing for a top 2 ruck finish.
Yeah, he's. I pretty much agree wholeheartedly with everything you've said there. I think it's pretty straightforward. You've got to get rid of Grundy. Some people have suggested, and I've had a look into it as well, in terms of holding Grundy and hoping, and it was probably before the weekend, but like holding Grundy, and even though he's going to drop in price, so too is Gorn. But Gorn will I mean, it's dependent upon whether or not he can reclaim those big scores like he did in round 1 with the 140. Like SuperCoach Plus has him projected. He scored 98 and 80 in his past 2 games, gone. But looking at SuperCoach Plus, if he scores around about 70 to 80, he could, over the next couple of weeks at least, drop another 30k. And then you look at Grundy, and he could potentially, I mean, those projections are out as well, because they haven't projected Grundy for 120 odd, which he's not going to get. So I guess his drop could be most stark this week because his break-even's 158, like you said. And if he scores a 90 odd, geez, he could drop another 30k, I reckon, thereabouts, just on the weekend alone, and then it'll plummet, and yeah, it'll be super stark from then on. So I don't know if there's much merit in holding Grundy another week, and what merit is there? Like, you might as well trade him, because you're going to have to wait until round 12. If you're going to wait for Gawn for the forward DPP, you might as well just act on it now and get him in, and take the cash and run. But yeah, he'd be my option, I think. And then, yeah, apart from that, English is probably the obvious one. Sean Darcy, I still, even though I own him and you do as well, I've still got reservations about him, and Marshall as well. So I think I'd be aiming, even though you're going to be paying, well, not really for English anyway, not top dollar, because he has dropped a little bit, 13.7k, not much solace really there. But he has dropped. So yeah, he's a little bit cheaper. He's actually, 90k above his starting price. So yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much where I stand, which is in line with you. So Liam, I think it's time. It is time now for the next segment. And normally I'm one to be like, I'll hand it over to you. I'll throw this over my shoulder. And it is, of course, the captain's hat. So let me just balance it precariously there and say, doot, doot, I'm the captain now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I love that it was like you were a captain of a steam train.
Yeah, it was like Steamboat Willie. I was going for, the old, the very first
Steamboat,
Mickey
I like
Mickey
that.
cartoon, and they called him Willie for some reason and didn't stick with the name.
But also then you were very aggressive.
Juxtapose the cute little doo with the I'm the captain. Well, it was like, I'm taking over the ship of the steamboat. Imagine if like a pirate goes onto the steamboat. Let me press the horn. Doo doo. This is not menacing enough. That's me at the moment. Very good. Well, let's get into it, shall we? So in I'm the Captain Now, we chat about what VC and C options you've got for the upcoming round of SuperCoach. As always, we've scrounged through the data and found the best options for you to consider. And for those tuning in for the first time, this is, of course, me picking the higher scoring captain, which we will delve into at the end of running through all these options. So, Liam, do you want to kick us off with the first vice captain option?
Yeah, let's kick off on Friday night. It is Lachie Neale up against your mob in Carlton on Friday at 7:50 at Marvel Stadium. He has an average of 120.5 in his last 4 games against the Blues, with scores of 138, 96, 142, and 106. So based off that, he is in for a downer this week. And if we go back a few more games, he has scores of 159, 134, 134, and 104. But these games do date back to his time at Fremantle. So, yeah, nice option if you've got Lachie Neale, one to consider. And are you ready, or do you want to jump into the next one, David?
Don't mind me. I'm just trying to put on my captain's hat, see if it fits me, because I haven't worn it. I think I've worn it once all year, if that. Or is this the first time I've worn it?
No, you've worn it once.
I'm going to adjust it. Anyway, next up we have Timmy Taranto facing West Coast on Saturday at 1:45 p.m. at ZG. Has an average of 84 in his last 4 games against the Eagles, with scores of 102, 61, 78 and 95. But he's coming off a great run of form, has turned up in all but one match this season, and his last 2 scores are 144 and 140. And West Coast, they give away the 3rd most points to inside midfielders, so could be a nice sneaky VC option. And I saw a couple on Twitter discussing in one of the Twitter groups I'm in through Honeyball, I think it was, and there was a couple of guys having a pact like, I'll go for Taranto if you do, and they're like, yep, done, and they were celebrating in style at the end of the game on the weekend with that 140. So he is someone to think about.
Yep, I like it as a bit of a different risky option. Like a nice pot option, I think, for a VC. Moving on, we've got Tom Stewart up against Adelaide on Saturday at 2:10 p.m. at GMHBA Stadium. We all know how much he loves GMHBA Stadium. And he has an average of 128 in his last 4 against the Crows with scores of 174, 113, 117, and 108. And I'm pretty sure that 174 was at GMHBA, last round. Last year.
Yep. Exactly. Geez, you've enjoyed some Clary pink sweaty pig by the looks of it there when I wasn't looking. When I was putting my captaincy hat on, you're like just gnawing on his other leg or arse cheek or whatever it is.
Leg,
yeah, other leg. I thought I could smell some bacon wafting from your place. So next up we have Rory Laird, Rory Squared. The Cats on Saturday, obviously the same game as Tommy Stewart, has an average of 106 in his 4 games against the Cats with scores of 118, 102, 120 and 84. But Geelong give away the least points to inside midfielders, so might be one to miss, perhaps. It's going to be a tough game off the back of their tough contest against Zippers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Jordan Dawson against Geelong as well. He only averages a 97 against the Cats with scores of 104, 85, 103, and 96. And he does come into the game with 3 of his last 4 scores being 150 plus. So bit of an each way bet there.
It's a bit. I was like, oh yeah. I like that meme of the woman like,
yeah.
Jeez, I went through a roller coaster of emotions there, just listening to you go through that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. And his scores actually have been a roller coaster because 104, high, low 85, high 103, low 96. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't trust him. I feel sick. Need to get off that roller coaster. Next up, we have Clary Oliver facing Gold Coast on Saturday at 4:35 p.m. at Heritage Bank Stadium. Has an average of 142 in his 4 games against the Suns with scores of 121, 166, 106, and a 175. Geez, I'm salivating just reading this out. Has his second best average against the Suns of any team that he faces.
Absolute juice.
Absolute
juice. Just pig juice.
Isn't his new nickname? Pig Juice. I didn't think we could get worse than the pink sweaty pig, but Pig Juice. Hey, Pig Juice. You lining up in the midfield this week?
Of course he is.
You need a cold glass of pig juice by the looks of it. Like, wash down that bacon you've been gnawing on.
Moving on. Just pick your VC. Captaincy options. Stephen Caniglio against Western Bulldogs on Saturday at 7:25 p.m. at Manuka Stadium. And he has an average of 111.25 in his last 4 against the Doggies with scores of 113, 116, 87, and 129.
Interesting. It'd be, it's nice to have him now, must say.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's good, isn't it? It's very good. Almost as good as having this man, Marcus Bontempelli. He faces the Giants, obviously, in that same game. And he has an average of 111 in his last 4 games against the Giants with scores of 120, 100, 127, and a 97. So I'm considering him.
Next up, we've got Sean Darcy up against Hawthorn on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at Optus Stadium. He's an average of 135.5 in his last 4 games against the Hawks, with scores of 91, 129, 183, and 139. But Hawthorn give away the least points to opposition midfielders. Ruckman. So he could be in for a bit of a stinker. We did see that Tim English had his ton run ended by Hawthorn on the weekend. So, not good.
I don't know how. They got Ned Reeves and Ramsden was like the backup ruck. Is Reeves like the new Draper, like the nullifier? Like,
yeah, just nullifying.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, again, another roller coaster that I was going through there. I was like that kid from, was it the Got Talent show? Was it the kids in the crowd It's just my mouth was agape. Couldn't get it any wider if you tried, unless you were offering up some pig juice. I gladly say it.
Pig juice.
Juicy. Speaking of pig juice, someone that would feast on it for good reason because he is a seagull, and it is Nick Dacos. He faces Sydney on Sunday at 3:20 p.m. at ZG. Has played them in the season proper just once for a score of 62. Comes into the game with 6 of 7 scores above 109, with 5 of his 7 scores captaincy worthy. And Sydney give away the least points, however, to opposition designated kick and takers. So this could be an area of scoring that dries up on the weekend and impacts him. But also, Ryan Clark, could he be one potentially? I don't even know if he's in the team at the moment, but potential tag, maybe.
Let's
Other
bring him in
coaches.
for that.
Other coaches are like, oh my God, Keys. Oh my God, we tuned in for SuperCoach Edge. We saw what the guys recommended. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes, just
Do you
nullifying.
reckon Longmire listens to us? I don't reckon he listens to podcasts.
Nah, he's better than that. Better than that.
He's better than that. Better than listening to us.
Yeah, I just gave us like a slap across the face.
Oh, bloody hell.
It's better than that. For anyone tuning in at the moment, don't tune out. Are they still there? Hello.
Hello.
Is anyone know?
After that, bloody hell.
Hello, Mrs. Pommelhorst. I'd like to get down now.
That's me just hanging on the rings as I've just put our. But I've done, you know what I've
Our
done?
audience. I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna leave after that.
You know what I've done? I've literally done a James Sicily, and I'm going to say I'm going to defend myself by saying those words do not reflect my opinions. There you go. All done. Perfect.
Anyway,
On the show.
moving on very quickly. Last option we got for you is Jack Sinclair in the last game of the round up against North Melbourne on Sunday at 4:40 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. And he is an average of 81.5 in his last 4 games against the Roos, with scores of 140, 75, 57, and 54. But remember that 140 is probably the only one that we need to really consider, because that's when he did break out as a primo defender. The other scores were sort of before that. And I think, as you said, North give away the most points off memory to opposition defenders. So, yeah, it's all coming up Jack Sinclair.
Absolutely. Like it. Well, now, Liam, let's jump into our little captaincy head-to-head. So, of course, I've reclaimed finally the breakthrough has happened. And it was bound to happen. It's bound to happen. But even better is it clawed back the 107-point deficit to 63 in 1 week to make it look a little bit more respectable on my end, because, geez, it was looking pretty... Yeah, it's pretty shit. Mind you, this was the first game English scored below 130 all year for you. He was your selection, of course. And what a time to do it. So thank you, the big brekkie, the big English brekkie did well.
Yes, very nice. You did get over the top of me. I had to let it even up a little bit.
Yep. Nice of you. Thank you.
Now, on to my pick for this week. And I obviously can't pick English. So who will I pick?
And I can't pick.
You can't pick this pink sweaty pig. But I really want to get some pig juice into me.
You know what Mountain Dew's actually made out of? You know why it's fluorescent? That's what I'm drinking right now. That's why I've been drinking throughout the entire show.
Pig essence. I am going to pick the pink sweaty pig himself, Clary Oliver, for my captain this week. Can't let me down.
Yep. No, he won't. He didn't let me down. He's a good boy. Now, I have no idea who... Like, this is literally... I don't have anyone in mind apart from Clary. Bond is probably going to be my other backup option, but reading through his breakdown, it's like, do I go for Lockie Neal? I know he normally scores well against us. Tom Stewart, maybe. You know what? Let's just not overcomplicate things and just go with the Bond. I'm going to go with Bond.
Very nice.
I think either way, whoever I go for, they're going to fall short of Clary. So
Yeah.
let's just go with that. Yep.
Let's move on now to the next segment, Damon. And what is it? What are we gonna What's happening?
I don't know. It's some people are asking, do you do a Jew? And then they say, what's in it?
Pig juice?
And you say, I don't know. And they say, I gots to know.
Hey, I got to know.
I don't know where I was going with that. Apologies. I was just thinking on the fly. My brain went into overdrive, and I blame the pig juice inside
Yeah.
here. That's doing something to my mind. It's fluorescent, and it's bad for you. And I've already had half of my daily intake of sugar already in this, and it's obviously 10:47 p.m. So I've had more than enough. You can imagine.
Yep. Let's get into I Gots to Know. And in I Gots to Know, we throw it open to you.
What am I doing?
The good folk of the SuperCoach Edge community. And we answer all of your burning questions. And first up, we've got DSE fire emoji on Twitter. He at DSE_DSE_DSE.
Someone obviously took his username. The username first preference was at DSC _, and then someone else took DSC _DSC. So he's like, you know what? I'll go one better. Let's ×3 it.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Love the handle. His question is Hopper a hold because he plays the wet paper bags this week? Or should I upgrade him to Clary this week? Cheers. Well, let's just jump in. DSE, I'd definitely go for the upgrade. I think Clary could be in for a big one. And despite Hopper facing the Eagles or the wet paper bags, as you put it, his time on ground is the biggest concern for his scoring. He had 72% on the weekend, 79% the week before, and 81% the week before that. Now, we can obviously see that his better scores correlate with more time on ground, shockingly, because if you're on ground more, you're going to have more chance of actually scoring. But that is the key issue for me. I'd take Clary if you've got the ability to get him and bank the extra points. Get that pig juice.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going for a Clary. I'm drinking a Clary. Do a Jew. Don't do Stewie Jew. Do the Jew. And that means that's code. That's code for Clary. Get him in your team. Do what I'm doing, and trade out Hopper for Clary. Easy done. Next up, we have Tyler sent in a question at daddyrat_13. Creative name. But he asked what to do with Grundy, break even at 150s, Gorn Dog back, I'm scared, with a laughing emoji. And yeah, it's fair to say. But we obviously covered that earlier on in the episode. So hopefully, Tyler, that has helped you in some way decide what best to do with Grundy.
Yes.
So before we wrap things up, Liam, let's run through our SuperCoach Edge Cup group results after round 7.
Yes, our SuperCoach Edge Cup public group leader has been on top the last few weeks before being dethroned last week, but he's back on top, and it is rehab with his team, Colin Good. And he had a round score of 2,378, very nice, a total score of 15,772, and an overall rank of 119. And what about the top scorer, David?
Yes, so the top scorer for the week was Jesse with Cat's Nursing Home. Very good. With a score of 2,493, who finished 114th overall for that round. So very, very nice there, Jesse. Moving on to our Patreon exclusive group, and the leader is T, again, Jonas Goat, with his team Prostitutes Inc. yet again, round score of 2,299, total score of 15,542, and an overall rank of 1,075.
Absolutely flying there. But in terms of the high scorer, it wasn't T Prostitutes, not Jonas Goat this round. It was our very own Damon with the highest score for the round with his 2,414. And he's actually sitting in third place overall in the group too.
Am I?
Found his way up there. Yeah, just had a look.
I can't win it by default, surely. Not allowed to. Maybe, can I?
You're not winning it by default. You're actually winning by winning.
No, I'm winning it by default because naturally I should be up there. Winning it by winning. Give everyone a head start. Yeah, okay. I like it.
Come on, David.
How are we shaping up though for our Patreon exclusive Supercoach Edge Cash League?
Tankers took out the win over Black on White. 2285 versus 2209. Carbs Crushers 2378 was defeated by a Damon with his team DJ Trade a Lot 2414. The Sharpshooters 2401 defeated a ton 314 off the top of my head. Sorry, I didn't write down.
Yeah, I don't know what the number
618.
reflects.
618. Sorry, I don't know where I got 314 from. But they scored 2240. And Damon, I'm off.
Oh,
It
you
happened.
are.
It happened.
He's done it.
Monkey is off the back.
Done it.
I finally got a win. Finally. I apologize, Popper Ball FC. 2396 for myself. Defeated Popper Ball FC 2371.
How was your sphincter? Was it as
I was
tight like a
bit
tiger?
worried. I was a bit
was
worried
it
at one stage.
25 points difference there?
Yeah, I was a bit worried because he had Dawson as well, and I was like, Dawson, don't do this to me, please.
Oh no, you are well and truly on your way back.
Yeah.
You're on the board and you're on your way back. So
Yeah,
the rest of the competition is on notice.
I'm only 4 wins off top spot.
It's doable. You can do it. It's early in the season. I have faith.
Do you want to take a look at the ladder, David?
Yep. So the ladder looks a little bit like this. No, actually, exactly like this. It's Brett of the Sharpshooters on 20 points, 5 wins, 1 loss. Myself, DJ, Trade a Lot, living up to my name
Taking it
actually as
away.
well. In second spot, 16 points, 4 wins. Maddie with Ton 618 on 12 points, 3 wins. Wade with Carps Crushers on 12 points, 3 wins. Obviously, difference there in terms of points overall is the separation here. Scott Arthur with his team Black on White is in 5th spot. Again, 12 points, 3 wins. Pete with his team Tankers on 12 points, 3 wins. You see, and that's the other thing that's going in your factor as well, because it's so tight apart from the top 2. All you need is a couple more wins and you're back in it. Then we have Dylan in 7th spot, Popper Ball FC, 8 points, 2 wins. And rounding us out, Liam, you're still there, as noble as you are, holding up the ladder. But you've got a big W on the board with your team, Church of Parish, 4 points, and that win. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. The monkey is off the back. That's all I wanted.
Yeah. Very nice. So that brings us to the end of the show. But before we go, Liam, where can our listeners find us across our socials?
Yes, on YouTube, search Supercoach Edge, and don't forget to like and subscribe. On Twitter, you'll find us at Supercoach_Edge, Damon at DamoJ88, myself at Liam Evans _95, and Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you search Supercoach Edge, that's where you'll find us.
And you know what I've just found out, Liam? There's a guy that we didn't list in the captaincy, and it's someone close to my heart. It is the Messiah himself, Sammy Walsh. I'm going to change it. I'm going to do a late change, and you watch this backfire.
Late change, I love it.
Late change, because, just quickly, before we finish up the episode, he scored 99, 130, 119, and 141, but he averages against the Lions... sorry, I've just lost it here. Where are you going? Well, she's running away from me, mate, for good reason. He averages 122.3 against the Lions, and it's the highest scoring team I think he averages against. So late change. I see you tried to trick me there, Liam. You omitted him from the run sheet, perhaps?
I did omit him from the run sheet, so I think about 1% of teams. But
Well, that's even better for me. So a bit of a pod. So I'm going to change. And you watch it backfire, and Bond actually...
you put the VC on him. I want to see the VC on him.
Actually, that's a good idea. I could do that now.
You could do that,
yes, of
actually.
course. Of course. Well, let's see how it goes.
Oh,
Walshy-
yeah.
Walshy-
It's actually in 5% of teams. All right, I take that.
He's getting up there. He's getting up there.
5.1. Absolutely flew up last round.
Yep, did. Absolutely. But that's it from us. So thanks, as always, to those that have got around us so far on YouTube by subscribing. And if you haven't yet, if you can do so, that would be very much appreciated. Just we're trying to get to the 1K mark. When we get there, and hopefully it's by the end of the season because it's slow going, and I'm convinced that it's YouTube making us fork out coin and be like, nah, yeah, subs aren't going to go up. So let's give it to them. Let's get a big dog up, yeah. Let's get a big dog up YouTube. You know I'm channeling. You know what it is? It's that Essendon supporter talking about Collingwood.
To put up with the shit that we've put up with for the last few years, it's been a fucking nightmare. We hate it, right? Then to come out and pump these assholes who have done nothing but put shit on us for so long. Get a big dog up, you Collingwood. You fucking deserve it. Fuck you all.
Yeah.
These arseholes have been giving us to us for years on end.
It doesn't get any better than that, champion, I'll tell you what.
But anyway, that's it for another episode. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. All the best for the round ahead. And we'll catch you same time, same place. See you then.
See you guys.